Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Shine, how are you doing on this beautiful Monday morning? I think you guys could tell from this right here, all of this that you're seeing, and it's a very rare sight, is sunlight. We have got sunlight, and I could not be any happier about it. I will be honest though, and this is something that I do miss about my old apartment. So, one of my favorite apartments that I ever lived in here in Paris was near République in the 11e arrondissement, the 11th, because I had windows like facing the street. I had windows facing like the courtyard. I had windows like on all four sides of the apartment. So it always felt so bright. And this apartment that I have here, my windows only face the courtyard, right? So like the building's kind of like a U, and so it's like the other side. So I could look into these people's like bedroom right now, right? So it kind of blocks. So whenever we get any sunshine here, I get so freaking happy about it. Oh, what about you guys? How are you doing? Is there any sunshine wherever you are? We've got Ashley in the building. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Caroline, Michelle, Acacia, Melissa, Tadisha, Aaron. Amen to that, Aaron. And y'all are helping me too. Let me tell you, 2025, I'll be honest with you guys, so far it's been kind of rough. I'll be very honest. I've had one terrible, absolutely gut-wrenchingly terrible year of my life. It was 2016, right? And then 2019 was kind of difficult. But now 2025, it's testing me. But I really do think that things are about to turn around. So I'm staying optimistic. So, I'm so happy to be able to help you guys get through your days and your weeks and your Mondays. But you guys help me so much too. Being able to chat with you guys is like the greatest distraction. It's like the highlight of my day. So I really do love it. Good morning, Jasmine, Michelle, Lucky, Venetia, Leah. Boss Lady's back. We were asking about you over the Easter break. How are you doing, boo? Nice to see you. Cynthia's here as well. Saima, hey, you're back, boo. Jaleesa, Jay, Shayna, Kristen, Melissa, Kahara. Wow, we've got so many people in the building. Wow, Amelia, Annabelle. Wow, are y'all here to talk about Javi getting married? Because we got a lot to talk about when it comes to that. I was so freaking shocked when I saw the news. Oh my God. By the way, BR, what's this live stream you're talking about? What happened there? Lauren, I know that she got re-engaged to Javi. He had to propose with a new ring after he sullied their last engagement by banging somebody from wasn't some employee or something like that downstairs while she was upstairs with their newborn and whatnot. It was a whole big deal, right? She broke off the engagement, broke up. Anyway, we'll get into that, you guys. I need to warm it up first because that's a really big story to get into. First, I kind of want to tell you about the Kim Kardashian story really quickly here. So remember, when Kim Kardashian was in Paris many years ago, there was some sort of a robbery that took place. She was tied up, and her money was not her money, but her jewelry and whatnot was taken from her hotel, $10 million worth of jewelry. And one of the people who was suspected of doing this or being behind this was Marceau Baumgartner, and he was 72 years old, and he just passed away, y'all. And I feel terrible for saying this, but I'm actually really shocked that this was still going on because, to be honest with you, for some reason, I kind of similar to the Dorit PK, the Tony Braxton Birdman, for some reason, I didn't believe the robbery story for the longest time. And now finding out that this guy, like, there was this huge process behind it, and this guy passed away, and he had all sorts of mob ties and whatnot. Like, I'm kind of disappointed in myself that it took all of this for me to finally be like, oh, damn, like this really did happen. It wasn't some kind of like insurance fraud or whatever it might be, right? Or publicity stunt. Because one thing about that Kardashian family is, there's pretty much nothing that they would not do for publicity, right? So, wow, very crazy stuff. And, a lot of people, locally are speaking, and they're thinking that this guy, with his kind of like mob ties or whatever, mafia ties, maybe somebody took him out. Maybe he was getting ready to snitch or something like that. But listen, at his age, what was he, 72 or something like that? Crazy. Just, enjoy your life in jail at that point. Just saying. Now, on the Bravo front, another, I wanted to get some housekeeping done. You know me, right? Bravo. They just launched this other show, Love Hotel, with Shannon Beador, Giselle Bryant, Ashley Darby, and Luann de Lesseps. It's 8 episodes, started airing yesterday. Did you guys watch it? Do you want me to watch it and talk about it tomorrow? Feel free to let me know. I just saw some of the highlights for it on Hey You when I went to go ahead and watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, which we will be getting into later. This particular photo made me laugh, though, just because of all these senior citizens. It kind of looks like an ad for like senior citizens home or something like that. Look how social you could be here. And then you see this random, like, younger looking Black man, this younger looking white guy, like, there for Ashley. She paid her dues when it comes to, the geriatric society. Right? She put her years in with that man, and she's not doing it again. Now she wants herself a young tenderoni. Okay. And I can't blame her at this point. Like, I don't think she's got a fetish for older men. I think she just had to do what she had to do to get her bag at that point. Anyway, let's see what y'all have to say about some of this stuff. I see a lot of you guys are really concerned about what Kale thinks about Javi's engagement. And you know what? I do imagine that we're going to be getting a lot of kind of like sass about it on her podcasts and whatnot, especially because her own relationship is not going well right now, right? Like her fiance Elijah was caught cheating on her with a woman on a cruise that Kale paid for. And, she's been playing the are we together, are we not together game, taking off her ring, putting it back, calling him her ex, bleeping out his name, to now going to People magazine to sell stories about herself and claim that he is her partner and her fiance and whatnot, right? Ashley says, Kale, hi, Key, I wish Wabba catered my wedding. Sorry, Carl. Oh my God. And I wouldn't be very surprised, right? If she were to crash out over this. Lately, she has been praising Javi a lot as her co-parent and whatnot. I don't imagine he told her about this before it happened. And so maybe she was kind of pissed off about finding out with the rest of us, if that is the case, right? Can I ask you guys, before we even get into how Kale feels about it, I want to ask you, how do you feel about this engagement? What was your first reaction when you saw the news? Or not engagement, sorry, but marriage. What was your reaction when you saw the news that Javi and Lauren tied the knot this past weekend? I want to get into that before we get into what Kale may or may not have been thinking. Okay, so while you guys get to that, I did see East Awesome leave a comment about Love Hotel. He said East Awesome said Love Hotel was boring, and I turned it off halfway through. Shout out to Porsha Williams Guabadia for evolving into the villainous low IQ thought I always knew she was. Damn, and we're gonna get into that too. So East Awesome is referring to Porsha threatening to sleep with Angela Oakley's husband, Charles Oakley. Oh Lord, Porsha, you're so different from that evangelical preacher that you once were. Nikki says, I'm late, but I'm here. No, never that. I am so happy to have you, and we're just getting started, boo. Acacia says, Lauren, facepalm, marriage won't change the behavior, and I agree. Leah says, this is a clown relationship with all the cheating. Lauren looks like a whole fool here. Sorry. I sadly agree. Jessica says, just think marriage is harder to leave. Exactly. Not if, but when he cheats again, right? Very, very, very sad things. Yes, Lakia, she was on Watch What Happens Live and she was blaming it on the Henny. So she kind of low-key copped to it. And Kelly also said that it happened. She confirmed it on last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, it was ugly. Raven says, what? I thought Javi and Lauren were already married. No, they were only engaged twice. Shayna didn't get to watch Love Hotel yet, but I'm here for the birthday spoilers. Listen, I didn't get to watch it yet either. I think I'm going to watch it later today. I'm going to do a karate class tonight. So like maybe tomorrow morning, and then get to talk about it in tomorrow's morning report. So Jaleesa says, in regards to Javi and Lauren being married now, it only took 8 years, a 7-year-old, 3 moves for Lauren, 3 breakups, 2 big cheating scandals, 2 reconciliations, another baby for Javi and Lauren to get married. And you know what? You're even forgetting some things. You're also forgetting this man getting up there on camera on Teen Mom Next Chapter and threatening Brianna. Well, first of all, he was trying to get with Kale. Kale was not having it. And so he was in a relationship with Brianna where they were kind of doing something together. And then she wanted to back out. And then he says, oh, like, if you don't, stay with me or whatever, I got somebody else who's willing to move to Delaware right now. Right. So she went through seeing that her man was using her as like a backup to his backup. Right. Not the assistant regional manager. Right. Not the backup plan. Assistant to the regional manager, backup to the backup plan, right? He wanted Kale. Then Brianna was the backup. Then Brianna's mom started getting involved because she knew he was bad news. And so she was starting to back out of that relationship. And so he started threatening her with Lauren. She saw all of that. And then in addition to that, I'm going to put it back up because Jaleesa raised a lot of good points, right? So in addition to that, all the stuff that Jaleesa said, and then him saying that, she's the backup's backup. There was also a restraining order in place. There was also him publicly humiliating her on Instagram Live with his ex-wife, Kale. There's just been so much disrespect here that I am truly, I'm truly stunned that she did this, right? I was already shocked when she had another child with him, but like marrying him to me is just, oh my goodness gracious. Like I really hope he does right by her. But the thing about people like him who are selfish enough to cheat on their significant others, especially, significant others who have freshly had their children given birth in their damn house downstairs while they're upstairs with the baby. If he can do that to you when it's so easy for you to leave him when you're just like the girlfriend or whatever, imagine when you're the wife and it's so much harder for you to untangle yourself from him. I think she kind of walked into something that that might not be, the greatest thing. Surely he's trying to convince us that he has changed and whatnot, but to be honest with you guys, I don't know. I think he might have some kind of an addiction, whether it's to attention, whether it's to love, whether it's to sex, I don't know. But I think that there's some sort of like, unbalanced hormones or chemicals or whatever in his head. And so personally, I feel like marrying him was not the smartest idea, given what he showed her in the courting and in the dating phase. But you know what? I think that this marriage is a good kind of reminder. So for those of you who are parents, or for those of you who want to be parents in the future, please, please, please hug your children. Tell them you love them. Tell them that they're smart, they're beautiful, they're handsome, they deserve the world, all those things. Because to me, this is such an example of low self-esteem and low self-worth, right? And I hate it for her. I think she's a very pretty girl. She seems to be a very nice girl as well. Like I don't think she's a bad person, of course, right? A very forgiving girl. And I think that these are all great qualities that Javi doesn't deserve out of her. Right. And so just, when I saw this photo, I was quite sad for her. I really, really was. And to be a fly on the wall in her family's house, like I wonder what they think about this as well. How do you accept somebody who treated your daughter this way, then turn around, went on social media to play the victim, triangulate her with his ex-wife, press charges on her, all sorts of ugly things, right? Crazy stuff. It really is. Lauren, I do think you could have done a million times better. I do. But at the end of the day, when somebody's self-love or self-worth or whatever isn't all that high, this is the sort of thing that they end up settling for. And to be honest with you, on one hand, I kind of wonder, are people like Javi, who run around cheating on everybody and whatnot, Are they narcissistic? Are they selfish? Or do they too have cripplingly low self-esteem as well? That they sabotage, solid relationships, that they're constantly searching for some kind of validation, or stimulation and whatnot. I don't know. But to be honest, I kind of get the vibe that that's what it is between the two of them, right? I just, they both seem to be very, from what they've shown us, right? Unhealed individuals. But listen, Javi, when he got caught cheating on her that second time or whatever, he started going to Bible study on Instagram Live. So maybe that helped him. Maybe that cured him of whatever it is that he had going on upstairs. I really hope it did. But to be honest, I don't know. You guys, I really do not know. I'm sad for her. I think she could have done better. I think she should have just, cut her losses while she could have. But listen, it is what it is, right? East Awesome says, for those of us who don't understand, Javi is like Jax. Is this another 10 red flag situation? And look how well marrying Jax turned out, right? Not good. Not good. Sometimes there's just something so strong in the head, the addiction or the whatever it is, compulsion, that the person cannot really heal it. Or maybe it takes a lot of work, time, energy, and effort to heal it, but they'd rather be in a relationship than spend time healing themselves, right? Hey, Ramster, nice to see you. And I feel like a lot of people about that restraining order and the Instagram Live that he did with Kale back in the day. To go from that to marrying the girl, proposing again, having another kid with her, it's all so crazy. The whiplash that I'm feeling about this situation. Now, there is something else that gave me a little bit of like, oh, what was this? I have a screenshot of somebody who left a comment in under their photo wishing them like the best and whatnot. And I was like, wait a minute. I know you. What are you doing here? And I think it is going to be shocking to some of you guys as well. Tracy says, me personally, I would never marry someone who betrayed my trust. Me neither. You are out the door. One and done kind of girl. Absolutely freaking not. And yes, Jazz, I do think that that's what it is. Some sort of a sex addiction or whatever. And it's sad. Nikki says, they say daughters change a man. Maybe that's it. Who knows? That's so much responsibility to put on an infant's shoulder. I don't know. I hope so, but we'll see, right? They're newlyweds. It's only been 4 days, right? We'll see. We'll see how all of this turns out. Kate says the charges, cheating with Kale and using Kale to bully Lauren, was worse than bathroom gay. It was all so ugly. It really, really was. I'm still shocked that she didn't walk away, but at the time I was like, okay, well, she's got a child with him. She left her state. I think she's from Maine to go and have a child with this guy in Delaware. And this is what I tell you guys all the time. Stop randomly popping out kids for these random boyfriends. Like, if she didn't trap herself with a child with this man, she could have made a clean break ages ago. But then she had the one, so she was stuck in Delaware, and she was complaining on social media for a while. Do y'all remember that? About she doesn't have like family and friends like in her state and whatnot. She felt very much alone. Like, it was very avoidable. Do not continue dating a man who calls you the backup plan. Do not have kids with a random, don't do it. And so, a lot of times when someone has a child with one person, they want to have siblings, right? Another one for that child with the same person. So I think that that's the road that she went down. Listen, Javi can be a very charming person. He could be a very flirty person. So I'm not surprised that he managed to kind of like sink his claws into her. There is another photo of them. They got married by the beach, by the way. So this is another photo of them. Listen, if you didn't know the lore behind this relationship, you would just think, wow, sweet couple, like beautiful dress, nice tux, whatever, right? But now knowing the lore, I feel like it kind of taints all of these images. However, the people who still follow them, they seem happy with this. They're very, very positive in the comment section. And I do think that that's what they need right now, right? Which is positivity for their union and all the prayers in the world for Javi's wandering, filthy peen. But we'll see how it turns out. Listen, we'll see how it turns out. I'm kind of stressed for her, but we'll see. Jazzy says, the fact that she married him after all the issues done proves he will never change. He hasn't been held. Exactly. He has to be held accountable, right? This is just... God, Lauren, babies don't change anyone, right? Look at, who brought up Jax earlier, right? Because, did Jax's baby change him? Y'all saw the way the child did not want to even be touched by him when he walked in the house. He crouched down into a ball to avoid that man. And yeah. Good morning, Mary. Nice to see you as well. Kelly says Javi's not into sex addict. He's just selfish, self-centered, untrustworthy person. And you know what? I do think that too, right? Like, maybe the love and sex addiction are cop-outs for, what is just selfish, reckless, irresponsible behavior, right? So I did kind of tease something to you guys, which is that there was somebody in particular who caught my eye in the comment section of this announcement video. So let me put up her comment. And y'all, do you remember her? Natalie with a K. We know her, don't we? Where you guys at? We know her, don't we? That's Kale's nanny. That's Nanny Natalie, who was living with Kale and helping her take care of Lux and Creed. She has stayed in contact with Javi. Isn't that crazy? Because we already know that she's still in contact with Chris. Kale cut her off. Apparently, she was the source who was leaking information about Kale's pregnancy with Rio, and then again with the twins to like the blogs. So Kale had to kick her out of the house, cut ties with her, right? And then we saw a couple months ago that she was hanging out with Chris and the babies and whatnot, and that they had posted it online. And so that made a lot of sense to me, right? Because she was very much there for the child rearing when it came to those children in particular, especially. Those were the ones that she was mainly responsible for. But now seeing that she's also maintained like, a close relationship with Javi as well, that's rather interesting. How do y'all feel about that? I'm going to take these out. I thought I would have fun with these earrings today, but they're clip-ins, and they are so painful. Like, I try to love clip-ins. I say sometimes, they're so fun and exciting and funky. People give them a bad rap, and then you put them on your ear and you say, you know what? Yeah, I hate you too. So she said, I love this. Y'all are so perfect for each other. I cannot wait to celebrate with y'all. Natalie, you know exactly what you're doing. You are messy. You're messy. But listen, so are we. So we love it. We love it. So she's going to be celebrating this marriage with Javi and Lauren, popping champagne with them very soon. And again, she is Kale's arch nemesis ever since she was caught leaking information to the blog. So can you imagine? Not only are you finding out with everybody that your ex-husband got married to one of your arch nemesis, Lauren, right? Like she and Lauren just have been beefing forever. They did like sit in the same room together for like that podcast interview with Javi recently on Barely Famous or whatever it was, but they're still not cool, right? So now seeing that news, and then your nanny is friends with her and about to go celebrate, her engagement to your ex-husband, your relationship's falling apart. Oh, Lord have mercy. Like, girl down, Kale down indeed. Michelle says with a K, so not Natalie, Canatalie. I know it's a very random thing that, that she puts the whole K thing. Nanny Natalie indeed. Messy boots nanny. Absolutely. I'm surprised that she hasn't just full blown come out and spilled the beans, right? I imagine that she has been proposed a decent amount of money from perhaps TMZ, perhaps The Sun, some sort of publication to come forward with her information about working for Kale or what went down between the two of them. But no, she hasn't. She did kind of throw some shade on Instagram for a couple of months there. She said that, Kale is mainly a social media mom. She's not what she appears to be and whatnot, or what she tries to represent herself as. But mainly she tries to kind of poke at Kale, if we could even say that, or maybe she actually is friendly with these people. I don't know. But by being very public about her friendships with Kale's baby daddies. Listen, if we see her start posting with Elijah or whatever, right? I don't know if Kale and Elijah are on or off, right? She keeps changing the messaging all the time. But if they're off and then she starts hanging out with that man again as well, that would be absolutely insane. What about even Joe or something like that, right? She's a little bit kooky. She really is. Maybe Kale was right to fire this chick. Do you guys think it's appropriate for her to still be in close contact with like Javi and Chris and the kids, especially Lux and Creed? To me, again, I understand her being close with Lux. Well, no, because they're kids, but with Chris, perhaps, maybe because she was one of like the main caregivers of Lex and Creed. Like, I get it. Maybe they miss her. And so Chris wants to facilitate that on his end, on behalf of the kids, because Kale won't do it on her end because their friendship is done. I don't know. But the whole Javi thing is a little bit odd to me, but I don't know. Y'all let me know. Have y'all ever had a nanny like this where she was like looking after your kids and whatnot for a bit? Then you guys fell out and she was trying everything to kind of stay in your orbit or stay in contact with your children. Like, do you guys think it's appropriate or not? I don't know. I'm just asking the questions. Carl in the Chaos says, and that's a top level move. She's been completely silent and biding her time. This will blow her crazy head off. And you know it. Listen, new episode of Coffee Convos podcast drops tomorrow. I don't think this is going to be discussed on it because typically they film the episodes in advance, but I think that for like next Tuesday's episode, we might be hearing a little bit about this, or perhaps we'll be hearing about this on social media. Keep your eyes peeled to shady TikTok videos or Instagram stories or whatever. Murray Duda says, Kale has a full rogue gallery bigger than Batman, right? Like, she's got quite a few people who've gone rogue on her. Acacia says, Kale needs NDAs for everything. And speaking of, did she make the nanny sign one? Because I know that there have been people who've refused in her orbit, right? For example, when she tried to make Javi sign an NDA, he countered with his own sort of thing, like, I will only sign it if you sign mine. And I think they both kind of just dropped it. And I'm kind of curious if the nanny actually wound up signing one, you know, and if that's the reason why we're not hearing any like explicit interviews or information from her about the situation. Malen says it's weird, right? I kind of think it's I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. She also says that maybe Kale is the problem. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. She is the common demon's toot after all. Malen says she raised them, and she was very, very like a very integral part in their upbringing and whatnot, right? She was a live-in nanny. Kale had other children to be worried about, you know, and then she, you know, she was pregnant with Rio as well around that time also when Nanny Natalie was there, then the twins and whatnot. So she really was heavily present. So you guys don't seem to think it's weird, okay? Because she you know, she kind of raised those kids, right? Acacia's also saying the same thing. Let's be honest. Natalie raised those kids. So I do think it is natural. And I've never been a nanny, but I have heard stories from au pairs and whatnot, like on, you know, TikTok especially, that you do grow like a real love and attachment for the children that you look after. And so to me, it does make sense that, you know, that might be the case, but I kind of, you know, wonder where like boundaries kind of come into place. But at the same time, if the father of the children, or at least one parent of the children, is still cool with you and the kids still like you, are you crossing boundaries, or is it just, okay, I'm going to hang out, like, you know, because I don't know, because Chris never lived in the home. You know what I mean? Because to me, I feel like it would be a little bit different if they were a nuclear family, right? With Chris living in the home or Javi living in the home, because neither of these guys were living in the home when Natalie was living there, right? So to me, it would be different if, like, you know, the couple was there and then the nanny lived there as well. And then like the couple split up. And so she maintained a relationship with like the side that wanted to maintain a relationship with her. I don't know. I feel like I'm not doing a great job of explaining this, but hopefully y'all catch my grift. Not my grift, my drift. Carl says they could throw a family party and just exclude her. It would be drama-free. Remember when they did that with trick-or-treating? All of them, including Joe and V, Chris, Javi, Lauren, they all went trick-or-treating and didn't invite Kale. She's still crying about that 5 years later, y'all. Minnie says, I'm not a Kale fan, but it is weird for Natalie. It's so weird for Natalie to be doing all of this, right? Average Canadian Mom says, I think it's weird and disrespectful. So now we're getting other people on the other side who find it to be a little bit odd. You see, like, I'm still having a hard time, like, deciphering exactly where on the spectrum I personally fall, but something about it is odd. You know, to me, the fact that like you would go betray your employer by giving information to blogs and media outlets and then trying to stay in the orbit of the children and stuff, like, I don't know, something about it is a little bit odd. And I think to me, the main reason is because these men never lived in the house, right? So like now you're reaching out to these guys that you weren't really even seeing all that often. I don't know. Something about it is interesting, right? But on the other hand, again, I do understand that some nannies do develop a real attachment to the kids and, you know, stay in touch and come back for graduations and these major milestone moments. So I don't know. Julie says, I was a nanny for years and I'd never be weird like this. Wow. And you know what? Thanks for that, Jaleesa. Have any of you guys ever nannied before or been an au pair or anything? Like, how do you handle it? Are there, families or whatever that you grew an attachment to and, you had to separate yourself from? Like, what's that about? Average Canadian mom says disrespectful of the dads, but they are all a mess. Exactly. I think that they are only maintaining a relationship with her to get under Kale's skin, to be honest with you. Tracy says it gives Lifetime vibes. The ex-babysitter files. Listen, Tracy, I love Lifetime. And so now, hang on, let me take myself a little screenshot of your comments because they have the best documentaries or whatever, little original films or shows and whatnot. So I want to see what this ex-babysitter files is all about because, yeah, it sounds kind of like thriller, spooky, weird sort of a thing, and it sounds good. So thank you for that. By the way, Philo is one of the sponsors of my channel. There's a link in the description box that you guys can use to sign up for a free account with them. And Lifetime is one of the stations that they offer. I don't know if it's on the free tier or the paid tier, but it is on there. So that's where I watch my Lifetime. East Awesome says, if one parent is cool with you, it's not crossing any boundaries. The nanny is fine and likely close to the darn kids. Listen, I think that's fair too, right? I think that's a fair assessment as well. It's just also so odd, so interesting. Oh, you missed the Situation Ramster. It was huge. The fallout was absolutely epic as well. East Awesome says, y'all, oh yeah, guys, if you're enjoying today's episode of the Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. Thanks, He's Awesome. And thank you to all of you who liked today's episode so far. There are some nannies I would like to write a book. I feel like it would be so interesting. Yeah, I feel like the stories are always either super positive or super negative. So it seems like a job that I'd be kind of nervous to do. Jessica says, I was a babysitter for twins when I was 14. When the family went through things, I ended up raising the girls. What? Raising the girls? Like you fostered them or something in your 20s? That is so incredible, Jessica. What happened? Holy cow. How are you able to shoulder that level of responsibility in your 20s? Because in your 20s, you're still kind of getting like your own footing in the world, right? Wow. And so Ramster, if she were to write a book about the nannies, it would be The Hand Who Rocks the Cradle Nannies. I like that title. Tracy says it was just a joke, not an episode. Oh man, and I took that screenshot and everything, getting ready to go find it on Lifetime. Okay. My bad. And Venetia loves Lifetime as well. Mary Duda says, I nanny for my cousin's son and I love him so much. And that is so sweet. And I think also like the element of, it being family kind of really helps change things as well, right? So I do imagine that in your case, Mary Duda, like, even if you were to stop nannying on amicable terms, that you still would want to be involved in, your family member's life like that, right? Your cousin's son's life like that. So I totally get it. Acacia says, it's clear the fathers are maintaining the relationship because they can't stand Kale. Natalie can't speak because Kale gave her an NDA. She's hands off, but she hands those out like it's nothing. Exactly. And you know what the thing is, actually? Do y'all remember Javi was he had announced that he was releasing his own podcast for a while. And it was kind of like in his clapback era with Kale. And then Kale said that she wanted to put it on her killer network and everything and to manage him. And then it all kind of just fell apart. Like one thing about Kale is she has this man under her spell, and it's so easy for her to disarm him because can you imagine if that man who refused to sign that NDA, if he came out with a podcast, oh, it would have been on, y'all. He's awesome. Raised my nephew for years while my brother was finding himself. My brother took over when I went to university. You guys are so amazing to be stepping up like that for like family members, friends, and clients like that. It's absolutely incredible. Hey, Laura from Scotland. Everything with Kale is drama, so I just don't trust the nanny because of that. And listen, I can totally understand that as well. She really does have a lot of drama surrounding herself and her relationships. It's kind of very rarely that people just quietly taper off and go. No, there's going to be some drama attached. And finally, East Dawson says, my brother later stole from me during the closing of New England home. I suppose it was repayment for free childcare. You know what? This is what I've been going through recently. Not someone stealing from me or something like that, but the whole no good deed goes unpunished. The way that people feel so entitled to your help and your resources and this and that, like there's no thank you, there's no, it's just, you should have done more or you should still be giving me more. Like Oh my God. I feel so triggered. Average Canadian mom says, kill the NDAs like she's a Kardashian. And you know what? Speaking of, she was talking about this to Caitlin and Tyler on their podcast, and they were so lost because they're not really deep in the weeds the way that we are in teen mom news and whatnot. And so when they were hearing this for the first time, that their fellow cable TV, who's not even on that show anymore and hasn't been for the past like 5 years, castmate is handing out NDAs. They're like, girl, who are we? We're just random people from some trashy ass show. You're not even on the show. What do you mean you're handing out NDAs? It was so damn funny. That was the first episode of their podcast. So if you guys want a little bit of a laugh, definitely go ahead and tune in for that. Mariah's doing French curl braids. Ooh, I love that. I miss my French curl braids. Oh my God, I love that for you, Mariah. Are you wearing them in this photo, by the way? I hope your braiding session is going well. I always love when you guys like tell me what you guys are doing while you're watching. Sometimes, what is it? We've had people at the grocery store. We have Shem at the grocery store. We've had Star. She was at the gym or something like that. Like, it's always just such a fun time, hearing where you guys are at. And Isasan was asking me earlier about karate. When did you begin taking karate? I'm supposed to start tonight. Listen, I do a little bit of everything. I do salsa, I do bachata, I do mat and reformer Pilates. I'm hoping to start karate tonight. And I think there's other things, yoga as well. I haven't done yoga in a while, but I'm trying to get back into that, but I'm having a hard time figuring out where to squeeze it into my schedule. And I'm trying to join the run club, but the run club is on Tuesdays, right? Tuesday evenings. And I don't know, I would have loved it to be Wednesday because Wednesdays are my rest days. But I don't know. So far, I haven't been able to do it yet, but yeah, I just love keeping active, moving about, doing whatever I can, to just get those juices going and to stay positive or happy or whatnot. With this gloomy weather, I have to be as busy as possible or I'm crashing out. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode of the Morning Report. If you're enjoying it so far, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. I gotta take a little bit of a water break. I'm hot. It's hot in here. Okay. We've got a word from some of our sponsors, and I'll catch you back on the flip side to do a recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Porsha talking about wanting to sleep with her coworker's husband. This wouldn't be the first time she did that. And more, okay? See you guys really, really soon.
The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than Ruthia. Ruthia is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today.
I'm back. It was so fun reading you guys' comments about like where y'all are while you're watching. Ashley is watching the dogs at work today. We have 13. Oh, living the freaking dream. I love that. Michelle, she is hustling. She is making her money. She's Instacarting while listening. Love that too. Amazing. And here is our famous Star. I think Star even told us once she was like getting a wax or something while she was tuning in. She's working from bed. My cycle is taking me out. So sorry to hear that, Star. Sending you all the strength. It's hard. It really does knock you the hell out sometimes. So I feel you. And I hope that you feel better soon. Nikia is also watching from work at a bar. The clash is crazy. I love that you're at the bar. What time is it where you're at? That's so awesome. Wow. Or are people getting started early? You guys, why don't we get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta recap, shall we? You know what it is, Jaleesa? I don't really drink anymore, and it has allowed me to be as active as possible, and I am just so happy about it so far. And again, it really just keeps me from like falling into the depths of despair over the gloomy Parisian weather. So on last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I could not help but feel like there's a lot of sadness going on with Shamia, like not only with like, the stress of her daughter's health issues or anything like that, but I kind of low key feel like there are some cracks in her marriage. Like I feel like the way that she talks about her marriage, but versus the way she looks when she talks about her marriage, they paint two very different pictures for me. So as you can see in this picture, she had just finished crying. Here she was taking a FaceTime call. So basically, to me, kind of looks and feels like she is exhausted with two kids already, especially with one being special needs. But she keeps on saying it like, not using these exact words, but basically, it sounds like Shamia feels obligated to have a third child, especially a boy for her husband. And I don't know, that makes me feel very, very sad for her. To me, it doesn't seem like it's something that she personally wants to do. She's never really said that we're hoping for this. I want this. It's always my husband is so nice to me and he wants to have a boy. And so I really want to give him that because he's so nice, like that sort of a thing. And then, again, when you look in her eyes, when she's saying these things, does this look like a happy person to you? To me, it doesn't. Right. And so I think that she has some sort of fertility trauma because unfortunately, she suffered a lot of miscarriages, right? After having her first daughter. And so she had to turn to a surrogate to have her second daughter. And, that came with a lot of issues as well. So the surrogate, unfortunately, she had breast cancer while she was carrying their daughter, Shiloh. And then unfortunately, Shiloh has quite a lot of health issues and whatnot. And I think that takes up a lot of Shamia's energy, her brain power, everything, right? And I kind of get the feeling that she would be happy with just the two. And it kind of feels like she wants to carry a third one through her body, but then she's already had so many miscarriages that it doesn't really feel like something that she actually genuinely wants to do. But maybe she also kind of doesn't really want to turn to the surrogate. And it's, not the fault of the surrogate or anything like that. But, when she turned to a surrogate for having her second daughter, there were a lot of complications there and whatnot. It really kind of feels like something that she would prefer not to do, but is almost feeling like she has to do because her husband, he pays all the bills. And unfortunately, that happens sometimes, right? When there's one person paying all the bills, you kind of almost feel obligated to do things. Whereas if you were, earning 50% or 60 or 40 or whatever, right? FU money, you would be able to push back a little bit more. Like there's something about it that kind of makes me sad for her. Kahara says, Shamia is such a good housewife. She's trying so hard to give her husband a boy, and I don't think she really wants to do that. Exactly. And it makes me so sad for her. Her eyes are betraying her every time she talks about how happy she is in her marriage. And, and I hate that. I don't want to see her divorce or anything. I really hope that that's something that turns around for her. But so far, I don't know. Malen says, hang on, Shamia. Otherwise, Porsha will take him for you. And listen, Porsha is not above doing that. She is the queen of Thoughtland for a reason. We already saw her do what she did with Fallon's husband on the show and everything like that. Yeah, technically people, they were going to break up anyway. They were not in a happy marriage. Fallon was out there screwing her assistant and whatnot. But, just something about that energy was so ugly. Porsha did not know about that when she was reaching out to Simon. So you were working with this girl, like this is the one that you had the relationship with and whatnot. And so when you hear that she's going through a separation, apparently you go and reach out to her husband and not her. Very weird, pick me, like just grimy energy on her part, right? East Awesome says, Real Housewives of Atlanta is so damn good this season. And I agree. It hit all the chords. Shamia needs EMDR to resolve all her trauma, the talk therapy to increase her sense of self. God is giving her the sign to stop having kids. And yeah, I really hope that she finds something that picks her back up. And then we even see her like in the Sprinter van, and I got a picture of it. Like, they were getting ready to do their activities for the day and whatnot. Like half of the girls were going to do a whiskey tasting. The other girls were going to like mix up some drinks at the bar and whatnot. And then she, she kind of brings down the mood in the car and everything. And again, it's not her fault or anything. She receives this text message and it's about how, and this was quite the throwback because I completely even forgot about, this happening that season. And I think this is when Kenya was dealing with Matt, who had his own, psychological issues and whatnot. So she had put together a PSA against DV and she reached out to the girls who had been touched by it. And so Shamia gave her testimony of what went down in her first marriage. And then Cynthia's mother gave her testimony. So going back and seeing that footage really was, wow, like a blast from the past, because I had completely forgotten about all of this. And so it feels like she's already in a place that's really sad and really dark for her. And then this brought up all those emotions again, and just so much sadness surrounding Shamea this episode. But she really has been so open and vulnerable about her journey as a housewife this season so far. And I got to be honest with you guys, I think she is carrying the season. And like, I've been really disappointed in Porsha's performance so far, especially this episode, right? So she's upset that Drew is there. She didn't personally invite Drew, Angela Oakley did. And so Porsha, when she finds out that Drew is coming, like, you know, because at first it didn't look like Drew was actually really going to come. It looked like she was going to cancel. And so when she sees that she's there, and then, you know, all of a sudden, conveniently, someone randomly messages her telling her that Drew and Dennis had filmed a scene or whatever, she comes down and she doesn't dress up with the rest of the girls. She's just staring at them, all gloomy, all dressed in black, just playing the silent treatment. Like, I feel like a housewife like a Kenya or a Nene or like a Titan, a Powerhouse, would have turned that into an incredible storyline. But Porsha completely floundered. She was just there and she was dragging down the entire scene. This was her birthday episode. Like, she should have been a bigger star than she actually was. And, you know, I found that to be just so disappointing, especially for somebody who was disrespecting her own baby daddy on camera, bringing him around to flaunt her married fiance and whatnot, right? And then she was trying to beat up her baby daddy on camera, trying to beat up his elderly mother. And you're mad because he's filming about, you know, some beats, you know, with Drew. Like, come on, girl. I think that if she were still with Simon, she would have been flaunting that heavy and she wouldn't have cared about the storyline at all. And so it falls flat for me. It feels very, very forced because Porsha doesn't really have much going on. You know, she doesn't have a home to film in, right? Because Simon would shut all that down. She doesn't have a new relationship. She's not really up to much of anything. So this is all she has. And I find it to be very, very sad, you know, for somebody who's so beloved by the network to bring so little. Shamea is crushing her this season. She truly is. Theo, hey boo. Theo said, how's the move going, by the way? Porsha's storyline has been cut off at the heel because of Simon not allowing her to film solo scenes. Exactly. I feel like she's getting an incomplete edit like Kenya this season. And this is why they had to go back and bring Phaedra, right? This is the thing about Bravo. They fire people just to rehire them. They are so damn performative, right? And they had to bring her back because Porsha was just not doing it. She was supposed to be a heavyweight and everything. Like, she's solidified herself, not as an OG, but someone like who is integral to Housewives of Atlanta. But no, it's just not happening. It really, really isn't. He's awesome says Shamea could also adopt. Would the husband be okay with that? If he loves kids so much, an adoption should be fine. No. Well, here's the thing. I kind of feel like the husband is a little bit more so on the whole, like, you know, the child has to look like me. The child has to be, you know how that mentality goes, right? I think that that's the mentality that he has. Because to me, somebody who is kind of ignoring the fertility trauma that his wife is very clearly exhibiting, you know, for the sake of having an heir, does that sound like the type of person that would be open to adoption to you? Because to me, it doesn't really. It sounds like a very kind of like, you know, egoist sort of person. Ashley says, after I had my miscarriage with my third baby, I can't even imagine getting pregnant again. It's too scary. I'm so sorry to hear about that, Ashley. And I do not blame you at all. Like, that just sounds absolutely gut wrenching. And, you know, the fear of getting your hopes up, you know, just for them to come crashing down and everything. Like, it feels like too much. And I get the feeling that that's what Shamea is going through and that she is too scared to voice that to her husband. So I'm kind of wondering, like, is he really as nice to you as you're claiming? Because something's off to me. Theo says, greetings from Thoughtlandia. And you know what? That's the thing about Porsha. I still can't believe she declared herself that. It's the truest thing she's ever said, right? But I still can't believe she declared herself that. Kahara says, Gerald wants a boy. He, like most men, want a son to carry on their name. And I do think that that is something that, you know, it comes down to. Can I tell you guys something? Speaking about men and their legacies and boys, you know, I was on this thing on TikTok. Somebody was talking about, like, not wanting kids, blah, blah, right? And then this guy, he's in the comment section of her video. He's like, wow, like, I don't understand people who don't want to have kids. Like, there are so many things that I want to pass down to my kid, right? So you're thinking that this guy has, like, you know, just these amazing things to pass down. You know what this man said he wanted to pass down to his kids? And, you know, it made me laugh so hard. I'm still laughing about it days later. He said, he's like, you know, I lived on a mountain for 10 years. I'm getting my real estate exam. Like, just things like that. I said, really? Like the fact that you lived on a mountain for 10 years, like how many years ago? That's what you're passing down to your child. You don't even have your real estate license or whatever, but you want to pass down the fact that you're potentially going to get it. Okay. Just the reasonings that people have sometimes are just too funny to me. Anyway, can I just say, shout out to the Beehive. Okay. Shout out to the Beehive, because today is the debut of the Cowboy Carter tour. So if y'all are going to be there for the kickoff concert, shout out to you. Mine is not until June 20th or 21st or something like that. I'm looking forward to it. And I got to say, these past 2 episodes of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, they have been serving Cowboy Carter concert inspo for me. Granted, this week's episode, they were a little too thoughty for me, especially whatever the heck Britt Edie was wearing to the wine tasting. She had her booty out and everything, right? But I've been loving seeing all these girls like have their take on like cowboy, cowgirl, like couture and whatnot, right? I loved Shamia's dress here with her boots and everything. I love Britt Edie's kind of like, cow print outfit. I loved Angela with the lace. Like, I still do not have my Cowboy Carter outfit yet. And so just seeing all of this inspo everywhere has been really kind of like cool and exciting for me nonetheless. I don't know if y'all are going to, and if you're still kind of like, on the lookout for your own outfits and whatnot. But yeah, that was a really cool part of it for me. Where were we at, you guys? So like Porsha, she was very disappointing to me. She's not a good anchor for the show. I think she kind of needs to be a sidekick, and that's all it is. Now, speaking about these amazing like Cowboy Carter outfits and whatnot, there was a scene, and I obviously cannot put up the photos because YouTube will take this video down with the quickness, put it behind like an 18+ lock. But there was this scene right after all of Porsha's moping and everything, where all the girls kind of let bygones be bygones, with the exception of Angela. And they go jump in the pool, right? So like they're all in their bikinis. The amount of cement booties, the amount of like surgical lats and hips and what was really astounding to me. I think that like with the clothes on and everything, you're like, okay, maybe it's like a slight little tweak. You go, girl. But when they put the bikinis on and everything, and then they were trying to shake the butts, but the butts didn't shake. Oh my God. That was criminal. Jail. But listen, I love these girls nonetheless. And I thought it was nice to see them all kind of get together and whatnot at the end of the day after all of that drama that they had going on. There was something else that kind of stuck out to me. Do y'all remember when Porsha was in bed and Cynthia came to check in on her after her little fit, right? And so Porsha's just talking about like how she's upset about the Drew situation and whatnot. And then she tells Cynthia, you know what? Like these girls are cool, but your presence here is particularly special to me. And I want to thank you. You made my birthday by coming, like, again, these girls are cool, but there's nothing like home. And I was sitting there like, there's nothing like, is this not the girl that you straddle trying to beat down and, she had to kick your coochie to get you off of her? Like, and you met her on the show. Like, this is not your day one friend. Your day one friend is the girl that you've been low key shading all season. It's Shamia. So to me, I thought it was weird that she kind of was like grouped Shamia with the other girls that she barely knows and that just got cast for the show, right? Is it cast for the show or casted, right? And then she said there's no like home with Cynthia. Like Cynthia is like, her real friend. Y'all aren't real friends. What are you talking about? Listen, I think that she keeps on kind of like low key telling us how she really feels about Shamia. We already saw the crap that she and her mom were talking about Shamia for no reason, when all Shamia did was warn somebody, hey, listen, I am Porsha's friend. Do not come to me talking crap about Porsha. If you have an issue with Porsha, address it with Porsha, right? I don't know, y'all. She doesn't like that girl. Then when Shamia was trying to show off her singing and whatnot, she kept talking over all the singing and whatnot, trying to claim that it was Drew. That's Drew. That can't be you. That sounds good. Very interesting, you guys. Very, very interesting. And yes, Canadian mom, I definitely will be sharing all my photos, all my videos. You guys are going to be sick of me when Cowboy Carter comes around. you're going to be sick of me because I will be sharing so much freaking content. I've waited my whole life to go to a Beyonce concert, y'all. I've waited my whole life. Hey, Brianna, nice to see you. Listen, better late than never, boo. Better late than never. It looks like you guys were shocked about all the BBLs kind of like assaulting us during that jacuzzi pool scene. I was shocked. Again, they look fantastic, when they're wearing like their dresses, when they're wearing their leggings and whatnot. Like, I thought that Porsha and maybe Britt Edie were the only ones with like BBLs, but I didn't know that like pretty much all of them had it. Like, that was crazy. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, I think you're right, Malen, about Shamia and maybe Cynthia, but there have been rumors about Cynthia. What do you guys think about Cynthia? Like, is her booty real or not? Like, because there have been rumors for a while, right? But yeah, I was quite shocked. Ladies, very beautiful ladies, but that was some very, very shocking stuff, right? And so, thank you, Theo. And I am so particular about grammar too. So I'm like, let me just ask my peeps. Past tense, yeah, cast for the show. So thank you. That's what I thought, right? Yeah, I thought it was very weird the way that she said that, right? And so Jasmine says that Porsha is fake. Mary Duda, Cynthia knew was BS. Yeah, and I agree, right? And Kahara says that Cynthia is sweet. And you know what? It made me miss Cynthia all the more, right? Because when Cynthia was on the show as a main, sometimes you go, oh God, like she doesn't bring enough drama. Like, what she got rid of Peter. Peter was like the guy that like, made me interested in her because he was such a diva, right? But now seeing her here, like I kind of missed her presence. Like she really helps facilitate good conversations between Britt and Angela, then with Porsha, getting her to open up and whatnot. Like I really like that about her. And I would love to have her back actually a little bit more than that. I don't know about full time, but I want to see her more as a friend of. Frenemy energy, indeed. She's very, 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 very shady. East Austin said Porsha and her mom don't respect Shamia. Me neither. Like there was like kind of like weird, low key kind of like just venom in her mom's voice when she was talking about Shamia, which to me was crazy. Like you're Portia's mom, you're supposed to be telling her because you see everything, right? Like with your life experience, you've got more obviously than your child. And you see how hard Shamia has been riding for Porsha forever. She had her unbrushed tongue on Snapchat, talking proudly bragging about being Portia's lapdog. Like, how do you turn around and claim that that lady is not loyal? Like she made herself look foolish for your for your injured son and your hoe daughter. Like what? Crazy. And not a slideshow. East Awesome. How old do you think I am? A slideshow. I'll be making TikTok with the youth. What are you talking? Slideshow. Hey, Farah, nice to see you, Boo. Nice to see you. And you know what, Lakia? That's the thing about Cynthia that I like is that she can get along with everybody. She's kind of like water, right? She fits anywhere you put her. And I was really, really happy about that. Now, speaking of water, the ladies, they dumped their cement booties into the water. Thankfully, it wasn't, it didn't make them sink to the bottom. They managed to swim up to the top. And so they were all having a good time, just like they were wasted and whatnot. And Angela, apparently she was looking through the blinds or something like that, trying to see what was going on. She didn't want to join them because they had just torn her up at the table. She started bringing up the whole Porsha creeping around with married Simon and all sorts of things, and it was a lot, right? So she decided to stay away, which I think was smart. And apparently Porsha was really pissed about her bringing that back up on camera. And so she said to the other girls something to the effect of like, Angela better watch herself before I go ahead and F her husband, Charles. And we know one thing about Porsha, she's going to be effing somebody's husband, right? We saw how she got that Rolls Royce. We saw how old that man was, that grandpa was, who got her that Rolls Royce, allegedly. We saw her creeping around, getting engaged to Fallon's husband. So when she threatens to go bone your husband, she is going to bone your husband, That was a crazy thing to say, especially when you have a reputation of being like a hoe, like low key, like a hoe. Like that's crazy to say that on camera. Absolutely insane. I think that is something that Porsha would make good on. And when I saw the preview for next week's episode and Angela told Charles, I said, oh God, don't tell Charles. He probably got excited about that. Do not tell Charles, especially if he's a thought too and he had a baby on you already and he's untrustworthy. I personally would not have told him. you know, and you know what? I actually have to go back and rewatch to see his reaction. Did he smile? Because one thing about these men will embarrass you, girl. And she knows, right? With the outside baby, she knows that these men will embarrass you. So that was crazy to me that she went and told them. I know it would come out eventually, but I don't know. I wouldn't have told them personally. East Awesome says Porsha has no exactly. And listen, integrity to me is one of the most important personality traits or whatever that you can have as a person. Like, it is qualities that you can have as a person. So that is just something that repels me so much from her. I cannot stand grimy people like this. She was not raised right. I question Miss Diane's parenting. She allowed Porsha to visit R. Kelly, be a video hoe. Porsha was one step away from being a Brit Edie. And she wasn't, yeah, right? She was. She just couldn't seal the deal. And it is true. I do wonder, you know, I think that it's Miss Diane that made her into such a bird brain, right? That she is after money by any means necessary. Even now, as somebody with money, right? She's still doing all these crazy, dirty, grimy things, ruining her reputation, trying to climb to an even high or a branch that she perceives as being even higher than hers. And that's just ick, you know? No integrity. Perfect way to describe her. Like he says, my coworker's daughter is best friends with Cynthia's daughter. I always want to ask questions. Ooh, Tia. How's Noelle doing? Where's Noelle living? Because I remember last time I heard of her, she had wanted to be a dentist, and then I think she's taking a break from school. So what is she doing now? What is she doing now? Y'all remember her tongue was white as hell, and she just, oh my God, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. Oh, yes, the youth slideshow. I'm still mad at you for that, East Awesome. Slideshow. Slideshow. I did bookmark some of you guys' comments. Jessica says that she's working from home watching, making her breakfast keto cheese toast. Yummy, yummy, yummy. That sounds good. Do you have jalapeno to put on that too? I saw this guy making a jalapeno bagel, and that's my favorite. Shout out to my Canadians. My favorite Tim Hortons bagel. It's always either the jalapeno bagel or the sun-dried tomato bagel, and I need to learn how to make these things. I heard you can make bagels with cottage cheese? No, Greek yogurt. I'm going to be trying to make Greek yogurt bagels as well. Acacia says, I'm working from home. Always have the time to listen when I can. And I love that. Thank you so much for all of your day one support. Boss Lady's kind of in and out, tuning in live, but also being part of the playback posse. And we love to see it. Thank you. And it's nice to see you again. Mary Duda says, Angela Oakley really said we were on a break. Did she really? Oh my God. I want the tea. I want more info on what was happening with that break baby. Because you know what it's giving? It's giving Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Listen, they worked through it. They're still together. But I don't know. Is it true? Or is it a convenient sort of cop out? I don't know. But listen, we'll have to wait until next week to see how all of that kind of unfolds. But again, Porsha, I'm just so stunned by you. You know, you've been flopping this season. Shamia has been chewing you up and spitting you out. You would think that she was the heavyweight, the OG of the group. You know, you were just not doing a good job of anchoring the show at all. Listen, you make a good sidekick and you've got a lot of charisma, but you cannot be the number one girl in this group, to borrow something from Jax, right? It's not working with her. And so I do see why they have to call in the reinforcements. And I'm still mad that they kept Britt over Kenya. Kenya would have slayed this season. And I would have been so excited to see what kind of outfit she wore to the birthday party. Listen, Miss Kenya, Barbie doll Moore, can you imagine what she would have worn over there to Tennessee? She would have just been eating these looks up. She is just absolutely fabulous, chic, beautiful, everything, right? Ronnie, y'all are making me hungry. What did I eat today? I actually can't remember. I have the memory of a goldfish, so I have to write down everything I do and eat so that I know that I did. Bree says, hey Grace, I woke up so late. I'll be part of the playback posse today. Hey boo, nice to see you. Thanks so much for writing into us, and we'll catch you on the playback posse. You know, I go back and I respond to the comments. So shout out to you and shout out to the rest of the playback posse as well. Mrs. H says, yummy. I love making sourdough. Oh, sourdough with some good cheese and wine is so good. I don't know how to make it yet though, so I'm jealous of you. And you know what else I need to learn how to make? Focaccia bread. Ever since I saw it on Megan's Netflix show, I said, oh, and apparently it's easy. I got to learn how to make that. Listen, I just need a big kitchen. I need a nice dining table. And then it's game over for y'all. It's game over, I swear. And I need a garden, and I need acacia to help me understand how to grow my fruits and veggies in my garden. That's the dream right now. Ronnie says, I'm always working during the show except for Wednesday, which is my day off. Love to see it. And thank you too, Ronnie, for always being here. Venetia says, I love, yes, for me, cream cheese and bacon. Oh my God. You guys are making my stomach grumble. I kid you not. I do have to go to the grocery store. So you know what? Maybe I will get myself a nice bagel, cream cheese, and bacon for my nice little, it's 5 o'clock. So I wouldn't even call it a lunch, dinner. Bunny says, it's a cop-out. Charles and Angela broke up when she heard about the side chick's pregnancy. And I think that is the truth. I think she blamed it all on the Madison Square Garden thing. Because remember when her explanation for like them breaking up was like, oh, like, he was going through a hard time. He showed up in Madison Square Garden. He got kicked out. That's why you would like take a break from your marriage or whatever. Like, really? Huh? That never made any damn sense. I do not think that she is telling the truth about that. Ooh, Milan, yummy, yum. Oh, that's good too. That is good too. Y'all are making me so hungry. I'm sorry, East Awesome. Me too. They're making me hungry too. Theo says Brit should have been let go after the threat. Putting her up to make a bogus apology was a cheap way for production to justify keeping her. They really, 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 truly miscalculated everything. You know, this would have been the season's already pretty good. Even though they got rid of Kenya, but it would have been elite with Kenya there too, and so just thinking about what could have been is so damn sad. And I have to try that too, Farrah. Oh my God. Y'all are making me hungry. Listen, y'all, I've got one final story for you, and it is a Real Housewives of Atlanta story, and it's super duper quick, okay? Kelly from RHOA, do you know how she's been talking a little bit about her ex-husband, how he stole money from her and her business and whatnot, and she had to shut down one of her locations because he was allegedly misappropriating funds. She also accused him of being abusive. Well, he's clapping back with a cease and desist against her and Bravo, saying that she has to stop. There is a clause in their divorce that stops them from being able to disparage each other, and that she's in violation of that by making all of those allegations on Bravo. And he also says, and listen closely, remember, she accused him of ABUSC and of misappropriating funds from their business, right? He says that he categorically denies misappropriating funds from their business. What's that tell you guys? Listen, she didn't have a restraining order for nothing. She didn't have a restraining order for nothing. Just saying. Bunny says Kelly's husband took his share of the business when he left, and apparently he took some money out of the cash register too. Apparently, just saying. Hey, Chelsea, finally made it to a live again today because I'm off work and going to see you're going to Beyonce opening night. I'm so jealous. How exciting, Chelsea. How freaking exciting. What are you wearing? Oh my God. I hope you are all like decked out in theme and everything. Ramster says, speaking of food, tomorrow's greenhouse. Oh, you have a greenhouse too? Oh, you guys are just, oh my God, y'all are living the dream. And it's all growing like unbelievable. I heard that the greenhouse is the freaking secret to it all. The way that like it captures all of the light, the heat, the energy in it, and everything is just so absolutely incredible. Oh, jealous. He's awesome. Says Angela's outside baby was from her first husband. It's a big misunderstanding. Oh, okay. Started by Wendy Williams. Charles had a mental breakdown. He really did. That wasn't a lie. Because here I thought it was a lie. Damn. Okay. Well, you know what? If that's the truth, then I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. That means that, maybe Charles isn't a thought. Like maybe he wouldn't fall for the Princess of Thoughtland or something like that. But I still do hate that that Porsha put that out into the atmosphere. To say that about somebody's husband, especially when you've been known to sleep with people's husbands, is really grimy, is really, really ugly. It is. To it all says Shamia has some big D energy. She is owning this season. She truly, truly is. And finally, Mary's Duda says, I think Angela chose her words very carefully when talking about the side baby because she never denied Charles. Also, imagine having and both of them have a side baby on you. It would be over for me. It'd be game over for me. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of The Morning Report. Per usual, I had the greatest time talking with you. However, y'all have made me really hungry and I have to go to the grocery store. I think I'm going to get myself a bagel, cream cheese, and bacon, and have myself a nice like lunch dinner situation before I head off to karate class. Listen, y'all, have a great day. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for tomorrow's episode of The Morning Report. Take care, you guys. Bye.